Okay, so one of the things that artists do on paper is to make something flat look like it has dimension to it. For instance, draw a circle, draw it lightly. Other than shading, how would I make this look three-dimensional? Any idea? We've done it a couple of times before on some of the cartoons. Angles? Not sure what you mean by that. That's okay. It's been a couple of weeks. So one of the ways you make something look three-dimensional is you put some ovals on the inside of it. It doesn't take too much imagination to see this as a bowl, if you ignore the top part. If you put another oval on it like this to make it look like a really fat, rounded plus sign, it almost starts to look like one of those atom shapes where they've got the little molecules going around inside it. Do you need a pencil? Do you need paper? Yes? Right here. So what we're going to do next on this, as these two things cross over, draw a line from this point to this point very lightly. All of your construction lines are always drawn lightly. Are you following? Yep. So what I want you to do is darken in this line by applying a little more pressure. And then draw just this top half of that oval. And then draw this half of the other oval right here. So if you rotated it on its side, it would actually look like a heart. The next thing we're going to do is from the top of this one to the side of this one, we're going to darken this in around like this. So again, this is a two-dimensional object on a flat piece of paper, but because of some of the lines, we've made what almost looks like an optical illusion to where it looks like a sphere with a piece of it cut out. Can you all see that? If you added shading to it, you could make it look even more three-dimensional. But that's where we're going to stop on that one. The next one we're going to do is going to start as a triangle. So right next to the circle, lightly draw a triangle. Knowing what we learned from that first object, how might we do this and make it look 3D? For instance, to make it look like a cone. Do you know what a cone is? Like an ice cream cone? What could we do to this to make it look like an ice cream cone? Or a cone shape? Anybody? No? Draw an oval right here. So now you can sort of see it looks kind of like a cone laying on its side. Everybody see that?
Yes.
Just like on this first shape, we're going to cut a piece out of it, or in this case, we're going to cut it in half. The way you do that is you do a diagonal line going in the opposite direction of this one. And then where that diagonal line touches the oval, draw a line to the point like this on both of them. And you can already start to see the dimension to this, or what looks like dimension. Again, it's an optical illusion. Your eye's fooling you into seeing something that's 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional piece of paper. So we're going to draw a solid line this way, darken it in, stop halfway, and darken this line also in. Then we're going to connect these 3 lines to that same point. So that it has the appearance of being cut in half. Is everybody with me? So this time draw a square. If we wanted to make a cylinder out of that, how would we do that? A cylinder's like a can. Again, knowing what we learned from the last one. What'd we do? Say it again? Oval, yes. So let's do an oval so the can's laying on its side. Do an oval here, and another one down here. So it might be hard to see at this point, but we're going to do the same thing by putting 2 diagonal lines that are parallel to each other on each of those ovals. Can we close our computers, please? We're not going to need it for another 20 minutes. So again, we're going to connect these 2 lines and these 2 lines so that it looks like this shape is cut in half. In order to give it the illusion that it's an object cut in half, we're going to start with the top of it like this, darken in these lines. And the tricky part is we're not going to draw any of these lines over here that are on the inside. But on the outside over here, curve this line down and this line down, and then connect these 2. And then when you're finished with that, then you can continue this line coming around like this. So if you think about it, that's kind of the shape of a bathtub, minus the feet on the bottom. Or it could be straight down on the bottom like a cube. If you drew this line also, it would look like maybe one of those, have you ever seen one of those barbecue grills where they cut a barrel in half and then they put a screen on top? Kind of has that same appearance. So you can see how using basic shapes, adding what looks like a three-dimensional shape to it, and then cutting pieces out, how you can start thinking about more complex objects. So we're going to do two more before we start drawing the birds. Start with a square. You all know how to make a cube out of a square? Everybody familiar with that? There's two ways to do it. You could draw another square right here and connect it. Or you can just do some diagonal lines that are parallel like this. And then connect those lines. Either way is fine. These are called isometric boxes, which means all of the lines are parallel, at least as far as side to side, top to bottom. Then again, to make it look like a solid object, I'm going to start darkening in the square that's in the front. And then follow this line all the way around. And then darken in the corner like that and leave these ones light. Is everybody with me? You guys tracking this okay? So the last shape we're going to do before we start the bird is a pyramid. We're going to start with a square again. And then up here, just put a dot on the page like this. And then each one of these corners goes to the dot. And that's how you do a basic pyramid. Again, these are all flat shapes, but your eye kind of fools you into seeing the three-dimensionality of it. One way that you can make it look even more dimensional is to shade some of the edges or some of the shapes.